evening, everybody. Alongside Mike Auletta, I'm Nick Strabinsky. Welcome to the debut of Sports Paws. Mike, it is a huge, huge day in the world of sports, and I know what you're thinking. It's NFL Sunday.
Not football. We're more excited for Sports Paws. Loaded studio, and I'm a little claustrophobic.
Well, Mike, I know it's not enough room here for you and your ego, but we'll do the best we can to fit everyone in here. It's going to be a great show.
Women's soccer is on a tear. The Bobcats were 3-0-1 heading into today's game against Hartford. That's their best start since moving to the Division I level in 1998. The Hawks came into the game at 2-1-2 and would prove to be a tough test for the Bobcats. Let's go to the pitch. Again, Bobcats, Hawks, second meeting ever against these two teams. Hawks won last year, early in the first half. Amanda Baroka, the freshman, look at the speed. Baroka crosses it in, a deflection, and then another freshman. Shannon Larkin buries it in the back of the net. First collegiate goal for Larkin. Later in the half, Taylor Healy, an aggressive day. Hawks ball clear, and Healy takes out Ariel Aikens. Aikens, he trashed how that takes. Back the other way, Jess Murphy. Pass stolen by Larkin. Larkin, yeah, easy freshman. Larkin failed to pad the lead for the Bobcats. Here, Jill Kelly, goalkeeper, faces a free kick. The diving save for Kelly. One save on the day, you just saw it. We've got more from Jill Kelly coming up after this. Both teams going to take a breather. Quinnipiac, Hartford. It's a very hot day at the Quinnipiac soccer field. Ready to recharge. Hawks trying to respond. Chanel Johnson trying to advance the ball. Poked away by Taylor Healy. Healy, more defensive plays. And now, here, Bobcats still leading 2-1 or 1-0. Johnson, she gets tripped, Nick. Not sure there. That could have been a penalty kick. Hawks don't get it, though. And here, wide right. Time winding down. Bobcats trying to do more, and they can't. And then the Hawks, one last opportunity for them. Shot goes wide. Game's over. That'll do it. Bobcats win 1-0.
Speaking of women's soccer, goalkeeper Jill Kelly has become a college soccer YouTube star. We have a video coming up for you with a brilliant save she made against Holy Cross. The upcoming schedule for this very, very hot women's soccer team at 4-0-1. They take on the 1-1-1 Harvard Crimson September 12th. Siena, Fairleigh Dickinson, Central Connecticut State, LIU, and Monmouth. 4 games coming up in the month of September in the conference. Combined record of their opponents, 7-18-4. So signs all pointing forward for the Bobcat soccer team. And we go back now to Jill Kelly. We talked a little bit in the highlights about the one save that she had earlier. And she's become a star on YouTube thanks to an amazing save that she made at the College of the Holy Cross. After a deflection off a corner kick, a Holy Cross attacker ripped a shot towards Kelly, who lunged out and stopped the ball with an extended left hand. As you see here, the corner comes in. Bobcats try to clear it away, and the shot, and what a lunging save by Jill Kelly, the fifth-year senior, and she got some oohs and ahs, Mike, from the spectators in the crowd.
What a stop. So now, with that said, we'll bring in our analyst, Nick Dench. Nick, thanks for joining us.
No problem, anytime.
Well, Nick, you know, you've been watching this women's soccer team all season and the last couple of years, and Jill Kelly has been a mainstay on this squad from the very beginning. And what does it mean to have a fifth-year senior in goal to lead the team from the defense out?
It's a huge thing for this Bobcats team. She's been so consistent all year. She's only given up 1 goal, as you guys mentioned earlier, and that huge save against Holy Cross saved the game for them. She's been such a backbone for this team. A .33 goals against average going into today improved that because of the shutout, her 3rd shutout of the season. She's 4-0-0 on the season. So with somebody like that in the back, it's hard not to win.
And you go from experience to a little bit of youth. You had Baroka and Larkin connecting on the goal to start off the game for the Bobcats today. And what does it mean to have 2 freshmen that can connect up front, much like Fortuna Village and Kamisha Woodfine did last year until Fortuna graduated? What does it mean to have freshmen step up and hopefully produce at a high rate?
It's huge for this Bobcats team. We talked to Larkin after the game earlier today, and she was so happy that she scored her first career goal in such a big game. And Baroka, using her speed, beats the defender, and she used the same move all game and just kept beating them. So these 2 players are a huge plus for the Bobcats going into the future.
All right, Nick, thank you for all that wonderful analysis as always. From one great stop, we go to a great start. After the break, we take a look at the men's soccer team as they've jumped out to an outstanding first 4 games this season. We also have a special guest in studio who knows everything there is to know about scoring goals on the pitch. And a former Quinnipiac star has gone across the border to become a professional athlete. All this and more on the debut of Sports Paws. Welcome back to Sports Paws. The men's soccer team has been playing very well in the early part of this season. After winning 2 of their first 3 games, they traveled south to take on perennial powerhouse Loyola, Maryland. Through a scoreless first half, team scoring leader Phil Surprise scored less than a minute into the second half with assists from Robbie McClarney and Tim Quigley. The goal was Surprise's 4th in as many games. However, from there, it was a sprint to the finish, and a Bobcat is no match for a Greyhound. Loyola scored the game-tying goal in the 84th minute of the game, and then the game winner just 4 minutes into overtime to stun the Bobcats and send them home with their 2nd loss of the year. Despite the loss to Loyola, the men's soccer team has plenty of momentum through the early portion of the season, and they look to build on it as Northeast Conference play draws closer. After a tough loss to nationally ranked Boston College in the season opener, the Bobcats beat Holy Cross and Lafayette in the next 2 games they played. Quinnipiac now plays 2 in-state games against Yale and Hartford before wrapping up the non-conference schedule with a home game against the Vermont Catamounts.
Well, Nick Dench is back, and he's going to talk to us about men's soccer. Nick, talking about men's soccer, where this team is a very young team, so, they were a young team last year. Talk about their experience going in this year.
It's a huge thing for this team. They're already a third of the way to their wins, their entire win total last season. Phil Surprise has been huge. Will Daniels has been surprisingly good. Last year he started very slow for 2 goals in the first 2 games and a big one to break their scoring barrier against nationally ranked Boston College in the first game of the season. And Borja Goita now has 1 year of experience under his belt, so he knows what he's expecting in collegiate goal now.
Now, in an upcoming interview, Phil Surprise, you're going to hear this tonight, Phil Surprise said, and he's the senior captain, he said he'd prefer to be a contributor and not the leader. He feels he fills the role a little better as a contributor. What are your thoughts on this?
I think Phil means it in a sense that he wants to be a contributor and lead the team on the field. He doesn't want to be more of an emotional leader or somebody who's going to be yelling at his teammates. He wants to be the leader, the silent leader. He wants to be the guy that's going to be on the field and lead the team with his offensive prowess and his ability to get the assists and score all the goals for the team.
Well, thanks, Nick. And as we mentioned, that great start by the men's soccer team has been driven by great team chemistry and camaraderie, but one player has stepped up in a big way. Senior Phil Surprise has produced just under half of the team's points in the young season with 4 goals and an assist for 9 of the Bobcats' 20 points on the year. And speaking of Phil, Surprise, our very own John Alba stepped onto the field with a sharpshooter himself, just for you here on Sports Paws.
So, Philip, you hail from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. What brought you out here to Hamden, Connecticut?
Well, when I was growing up, my parents used to live out in Washington, D.C. My dad was in the Army, and they used to live out in the East Coast for a while. And they wanted me to just kind of, get out of Milwaukee, get a feel for what's outside of the Midwest, like on the East Coast and everything. They wanted me to go to the East Coast as well. And when I came here, I fell in love with the school right away. Great soccer program at the time, too. Eric DeCosta's a phenomenal coach, and the academics here are superb. So,
why don't you talk about your relationship with Coach DeCosta?
Well, when I first came in as a freshman, my relationship was very timid. I was coming in as a freshman, little fish in a big lake, that kind of thing. And now over the years, we get more and more comfortable with each other. I mean, now I can just go up to him and talk to him. I can go up to his office and talk to him for 2 or 3 hours at a time and just, have a good time with him. We can have a conversation about anything with him. Just a great person and great coach on the field as well, too.
So you came here out of high school in Wisconsin. You scored 115 goals in high school. Did you feel any pressure to carry that over here into college?
I actually did, because I knew when I came in here as a forward, I had to score, and that's what Coach brought me in here for. He recruited me as a forward. I had to play here as a forward, and he expected goals out of me. But sometimes I get a little nervous. Sometimes I try to do too much. But DeCosta will usually settle me down, and I'll be able to just play my game, and the goals come naturally.
Well, of late, the goals have been coming naturally. You had a hat trick on September 2nd against Lafayette. What was that like?
It was a good feeling. I was more relieved than excited, to be honest with you. I was trying to, before like the last 2 games against Boston College and Holy Cross, I was trying to do a little too much, like trying to dribble too much, trying to do what was out of my comfort zone. And so I sat with Coach. He sat me down. He just said, "Look, relax. Just play your game. Just do what you normally do." So then I got the first goal. That felt good. Second goal felt even better. Third goal, it just felt like I was doing what I was normally doing.
So when you address yourself as a player, do you see yourself more as a leader or a contributor for this team?
I'd like to see myself more as a contributor, to be honest with you. On this team right now, I know I am the captain, but it's the whole senior class that is also leading this team too. It's not just one person leading the team. I mean, everybody from Greg to Marion to Will, I could go on forever about all the seniors, and they're just phenomenal leaders. It's a great class to have, and it doesn't rely on you just having to lead the team by yourself.
Well, last year you finished 6-10. You went 4-6 in the Northeast Conference. Somewhat of a disappointing season, many have said. How do you go about improving that this season?
Well, one thing is that we were very young last year. I mean, we brought in a huge freshman class, and I mean, it's hard to have a lot of freshmen start and take on that huge role going into Division I collegiate soccer. And NEC is, people always say downplay it a little bit, but it's a very good soccer conference too. So for this year, what's really, really helping us and what we're really working on is the chemistry, which is a lot better than last year, and the just overall senior leadership. It's just great. One thing we did do this year is that we pretty much like we always had that, freshmen take the gear out, freshmen, clean up the gear. Kind of eliminated that, and it's always been like now it's just a team effort to, just help out on the littlest things at practice, like cleaning up stuff, taking stuff out to practice, everyone just being on time. Now, no singling classes out, and it's just basically going from freshmen, sophomore, junior, seniors, all to one big class, if you know what I mean.
So this is your final season, at least as a senior. It's your swan song. When you reflect upon your career, how do you sum it up?
That's a hard question to answer, to be honest with you. Very fast. It's gone by extremely fast. I still feel like I'm a freshman sometimes, and I look back on freshman year, and the years have just gone by so quickly, and all the regrets that I've had over the years too, like not getting that, that goal or not working that extra little bit harder. I want to fix that this year, and I just want to go out with a huge finish and, ultimately bring home an NEC championship, make it to the NCAA tournament.
Hall is back in the States. Well, sort of. The former Bobcat goalkeeper is playing in Major League Soccer for the Toronto Reds. Hall has played in 3 games thus far and has allowed 5 goals in 270 minutes. His debut, a 1-1 draw in a friendly with Liverpool. One of Hall's teammates, DJ Pereira, recently signed a contract of his own with CD Operario in Portugal. Perhaps Phil Surprise will be the next QU soccer star to go pro, Nick.
Well, it certainly wouldn't be a surprise.
We're going to take a quick break now. Coming up on Sports Paws, we'll look at volleyball. We'll look at the volleyball team and a sit-down interview with head coach Chris Solinsky. And now, Sports Paws would like to take a moment to remember those who lost their lives on September 11th, 2001.
Well, Mike, welcoming a new head coach is not a common occurrence at Quinnipiac, a school and athletics department where tenured coaches are a usual theme. However, this fall season marks a new era for the Bobcats volleyball team, as the team will be led by first-year coach Christopher Solinsky. Our very own Mike Auletta, he's everywhere these days, sat down with Coach Solinsky earlier this week to look ahead into the future of the volleyball program.
People want to know, who is Chris Solinsky?
Well, I've played volleyball my whole life. Started off in high school at St. Joe's High School. Got a scholarship going to University of New Haven, playing over there. After college, I'm still playing to this day, whether it's doubles tournaments or I have my own club national team that we travel to different states every year to go play volleyball. I got into coaching, I would say my sophomore year in college, coaching the local club team, CT Juniors. I've been coaching them to this day, and I was coaching at Post University for a couple years, got my master's over there in education, and now I'm over here at Quinnipiac, head coach.
So you're here, why Quinnipiac?
Quinnipiac University, you know, they brought me in, they trusted me to coach this program, and I think it's a great opportunity for me to, you know, take the next step in coaching and to take these girls where they need to go.
So you've been with this team, you've trained this team. What is this team's identity?
Right now, I like to pride myself on defense, blocking and defense. We're all going to be very defensive-minded. I believe offense comes from a great defense. So, you know, I hope to see our blocks up there and our defense all over balls. I don't expect to see many balls hit the ground.
So right now, defense is your strength?
Defense is our strength right now.
And offense your weakness?
Well, I wouldn't say it's our weakness. I just feel that we need to put all our attention and focus on defense, and with a good defense always comes a good offense.
So what would you say your weakness is?
Right now we're a young team. We're trying to just find ourselves as a team, trying to come together, and I think that's our biggest issue right now. We just have to become united.
Right.
This team was kind of in disarray the past couple of years, but this year we're really coming together. We got a couple new freshmen, and just coming together as a team, that's it.
So what are your expectations?
Just to get better and better every game. For these girls to keep growing, keep learning about the game, and just take it from there.
Now, you have yet to play a home game. You've played on the road your first 6 matches. How excited are you to play your first home game?
You know, the atmosphere in here and these home games at Quinnipiac is unbelievable. The stands are usually filled, and it's a great atmosphere, and the girls love it, so I really can't wait.
Now, a question about the fans. Have you seen Taylor Payne's father's hat collection yet?
I have. I've met with him, and he showed me his whole hat collection, and he's got some interesting hats in there.
What's your favorite one, if you'd have to?
I would have to say just Bobcat. The normal Bobcat is probably the best.
The last question for you before we break this up. Complete the sentence for me, or the thought. The 2012 Quinnipiac Volleyball team will
surprise a lot of people.
And our very own Zach Daly is a big analyst here on Sports Paws. I don't know if he's at the caliber of Nick Dench, but he also sat down earlier this week and took a little more insight into the volleyball program as they try to turn things around.
Guys, well, it's been a rough season for the Bobcats volleyball team so far. 0-6 to open up the season. But worse than that, they are 0-18 in sets, dropping every single set they've played so far. Now you might ask, where's the problem for this team? Well, so far on the season, this team has 103 kills. 104 hours, though. That leads to a negative hitting percentage. This team's really got to turn around as a team if they want to get wins. Luckily, it's out of conference play so far, so when the conference play starts rolling around, this team should be in good shape.
Earlier this afternoon, the Quinnipiac field hockey team traveled to the Great North to take on the Vermont Catamounts in a battle of Northeast squads. Jess Rusin started the scoring in the 8th minute with a goal off a rebound of a Kristen Engelke shot. Vermont answered in the 21st minute with a goal of their own to tie things at 1, but the tie was broken just 4 minutes later when captain Jenna-Lise Taylor scored a goal assisted by fellow captain Lauren Zimniski and junior Krista Romano to give the Bobcats a 2-1 win over the Vermont Catamounts. And just when you thought the professional news was over, it was just getting started. Bo goes pro. Former QU basketball standout James Johnson recently inked a contract with Forza Lleida of the Leb Gold division in Spain, the country's second most competitive league. Johnson joins DeMario Anderson and former teammates Justin Ruddy and James Feldine on the professional circuit. Let's take a look, Mike, at Johnson.
Well, first what we're going to do now, before we go look at Johnson, is we are going to go right back to Zach Daly to talk about the field hockey team. Zach?
Thanks, guys. Well, so far for the Quinnipiac Bobcats field hockey team, it's been an up-and-down roller coaster ride. 2 wins in the first 2 games, followed by 2 losses. The one against Yale was a heartbreaker. They tied it 2-2 with about 15 minutes to go in the game, but Yale was able to capitalize with less than 5 minutes to go. Jenna-Lise Taylor, the junior captain for the Bobcats, has been the bright point for this team, scoring 2 goals and 2 assists, 6 points in the first weekend. Junior forward Jess Rusin has also been a bright spot, 2 goals, both against Yale, and another assist. The junior now has 17 career goals as she moves up the all-time list. And the Bobcats have a tough remaining out-of-conference schedule. They have to play nationally ranked Maine before they do go to their in-conference games. But as the Bobcats lean on their junior leadership, they should be fine moving forward.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us tonight. We're going to wrap things up here on Sports Paws. For Mike Arlett and everyone on the crew, I'm Nick Serbinski.
A little bit more news, though. If you are interested in joining Q30, go to www.q30.org. That's the official website. Follow Q30 on Twitter at Q30 Television, or follow the sports department for more on Sports Paws at Q30 Sports. Again, for Nick Zerbinski and the rest of the crew, I'm Mike Auletta. Good night.